Chapter 1. The Silent Girl. In the ash-choked skies of the outland wastes, where scavengers howled and the ground trembled beneath broken machines, there lived a girl who never spoke. Her name was Kayla. People called her the Mute, a term spat like poison. Her stepfather, Marnak, spat it loudest. "She's cursed," he'd sneer to passing traders. "Useless." Not a word from her since she came out of her mother's womb. Just eats and stares like a half-broken bot. Kayla only blinked, wide silver eyes shining beneath tangled white blonde hair. She never fought back, never flinched, only listened, always listened. Her mother had died years ago, bones burned in the last village fire before the drought turned fertile land into scorched dust. Marnak was not her blood, only the man her mother married for survival. And once her mother was gone, Kayla became nothing but burden and bargain. Chapter 2. The Trade. The stranger came at dusk. He wore scavenger gear of mixed tech and leather, a plasma rifle slung over his back and boots caked in mud from places farther than anyone in Kayla's village dared walk. His name was Corin. He didn't ask for Kayla. He came for scrap, old tech, circuit cores, water filters. But when Marnak noticed the shimmer of credits on his wrist scanner, he got greedy. "Got something else for you," Marnak said, grinning wide, half his teeth missing. He yanked Kayla forward by her arm. Pure girl. Not a word in her. No bite. Obedient as a shadow. "You take her, and I give you half off the tech." Corin turned, slowly. His gaze landed on Kayla. She stood still, face expressionless, eyes meeting his with a strange calm. "She's not a slave," Corin said, voice low. "She's mine," Marnak spat. "And I say she's worth more to someone like you than rusted tech." There was a long silence. Corin looked at Kayla again. Something about her didn't read as broken. More like patient. He gave no reply, just scanned the trade chip into Marnak's device. Marnak snorted in triumph. Corin walked away with Kayla following behind. She never looked back. Chapter 3. The Journey. They traveled across salt plains and dead forests, through rain that burned and skies that wept ash. Corin barely spoke. Kayla never did. But every night, while he set up shelter, she watched. She learned. She cleaned his gear without being told, sharpened his knives, applied salvaged balm to the burn on his arm. When he left a scout, she never moved from the safe perimeter. Corin noticed, but he didn't say anything yet. One night, he handed her a piece of dried root, hardened from days in his pack. She took it with a nod, broke it in half, and handed the other to him. That night, he asked, "You understand everything I say, don't you?" She looked at him, then nodded. "You could talk. You just don't."
She didn't nod this time.
Didn't blink. Just held his gaze until he looked away. Chapter 4. The Voice. They were ambushed by raiders near the ridged cliffs of Tyran Spires. Corin took a blade across his thigh, bled hard, and barely managed to blast two of them down before collapsing behind a dune. Kayla, untouched, crouched beside him, trembling. He pushed his gun toward her with shaking hands. "Shoot if they come back." She stared, took the weapon, then dragged him, somehow, behind a shielded rock shelf before tending the wound with his emergency kit. For hours, she stitched and dressed, using tools she had only watched him use before. He faded in and out of consciousness. But in the middle of the night, through the pain, he heard it.
"Don't die."
His eyes opened. Her face hovered over his, tears clinging to her lashes. "Please don't die." Her voice was soft.
Rough.
"Beautiful." "You talked," he whispered. She touched his cheek. "Only for you." Chapter 5. The Story.
He didn't ask why, not then.
But over days, as the fever passed and his strength returned, she told him in slow whispers. Her silence wasn't from fear.
It was a vow.
I was 7. Marnak beat my mother when I cried.
So I stopped crying.
He said if I was quiet, he'd leave her alone. Corin clenched his jaw. After she died, I stopped talking. No one listened anyway. I thought words were wasted breath.
But you saw me. Before I spoke.
You heard me. He nodded. You were never mute. Just unheard. She looked at him. Now I speak only when it matters. Chapter 6. The Return. Months passed. Corin and Kayla moved from town to town, scavenging and surviving. Word spread of a ghost girl with white hair and silver eyes who never spoke but saw everything. Some called her a prophet. Others called her a myth. But in private, she spoke to Corin freely. Short sentences.
Sharp thoughts.
Observations beyond her years. They became a team, partners. Then came the whisper. Marnak was raiding again. Taking girls. Selling them. Claiming he had more mute daughters. Kayla stood silent at first when Corin told her. Then, for the first time in weeks, her jaw clenched. I want to go back. You sure? She nodded once. I'm not scared. Not anymore. Chapter 7. The Reckoning. They returned to her village under cover of night. The huts were fewer, the fires lower. Marnak had grown crueler with power. Kayla walked into the center of the village at dawn. Her face was clean, her eyes steady. Marnak emerged from his shack. At first, he laughed. Well, look what silence dragged back in. You bring me more credit chips, little mutie. She didn't flinch. You always thought I was your burden, she said, her voice ringing across the square. But I was your witness. The villagers froze. You beat my mother. You sold me. You told the world I was nothing. But I remember every word. Marnak's face drained of color. You lying little. Try to hit me now. Corin stepped into view, rifle aimed steady. Behind him, the people began to stir. We're not afraid of you anymore, someone whispered. Another repeated it louder. The mob rose slowly, not with fire, but with truth. No blades, no fists, just the turning of backs. The silence of exile. Marnak was cast out by dawn. Chapter 8. The Voice of a New World. Months later, Kayla stood at the edge of a growing settlement where people worked together, built safely, and shared food under the open sky. The soil here was richer. Seeds actually sprouted. Children gathered near her feet. She crouched, telling stories in a calm, musical voice. Her voice. Corin stood behind, arms folded, watching with quiet pride. Later, as the sun dipped, Kayla approached him. Do you regret taking me?
He shook his head.
You were never mine to take. You were always meant to find your way. She smiled. But you listened. That's all you needed. She reached up and took his hand. Now others hear me too. He nodded. And the world's better for it.